All right, welcome back to another episode of Run Mountain Peaks, episode 14. And this was going to be the first guest episode, but unfortunately, things did not work out, and I'll tell you why. um, I was going to have my buddy Ryan Fournier on the podcast. Super strong runner, very fast, gets after it. And we were going to do a hike, try to get a little bit of running in, and then do the podcast. But on our way up north, or during our trek, we encountered some a little bit we encountered some barriers that slowed us down. So today we did the Osceolas. We did them from the Kank, because in the winter Triple I Road is shut down, and you can only do them from basically going up East Osceola and then over to Osceola and out and back. And Osceolas is one of the more popular hikes in the White Mountains. I think it's a fairly easier one with really good views, especially from Triple I Road. It's a very mild grade, and it's a great view. So everyone, that's like one of the ones that people do for their first 4,000 footer. One of the first ones that they do is the Osceolas, or at least Osceola. But in the winter, it doesn't get that much love. You got to go up East Osceola, which is a steep climb, and then in the winter it can be even harder. It can be icy a little bit, and so it doesn't get a lot of love. But the 4,000 footers, I mean, everyone hikes the 4,000 footers every day of the week now. Gritters, list people, everybody goes out, and so between Thursday and Friday, I was banking on somebody breaking that out, but we got there a little after 9, strategically. In the winter, I'll sleep in a little bit extra. It's going to be you sleep in a little bit extra. It's going to be a little bit warmer when you start your run. And hopefully people are ahead of you breaking out trail for you. So if the trails aren't packed down, like it snowed Wednesday, I think it snowed Wednesday night. So we got recent snow up there. And yeah, usually just let some of the hikers get a little head start ahead of you. It's going to make your day easier. So we get there at like 9 and 9:15 start, and there's a few cars in the parking lot. The parking lot is like a foot and a half of snow, it felt like. Apparently some guy in the parking lot who was there getting ready when we pulled in said that they just helped get a Subaru that was stuck in the lot off the lot, and then they went and parked. There's a little like the ski trail that you can take right on that turn on the Kank. There's a little pull-off room where a lot of people park in the winter if you can't get in the lot. But I mean, I have a 4-wheel drive truck, so I was like, I should be good. And we start going up. It's like a sharp turn, and there was a foot and a half of snow, and it was all this like beach sand, loose snow. And it took me, 5 minutes to park this thing and get it next to like the 3 other cars in the parking lot. So there were a few other cars in the parking lot, so I knew I could get in there. But it took a little 27-point turn to get really tucked in next to a car, but we did it. And there were a few cars there, and then there were, I think, 4 cars parked on the side of the road. So seven people on the trail. So it's like, all right, nice. And Ryan, he, like I said, super strong runner, super fast. He hiked the Appalachian Trail, I think the year before. Yeah, I think last year he hiked it. But he hasn't done a ton of other 4,000 footers and not a ton of the winter hiking up there. And so I was supposed to be kind of more like, hey, I know what I'm doing out here kind of thing, because I go like every weekend, especially in the winter. And I told him, I was like, there's a few people ahead of us. You're not gonna post hole today. It's gonna be annoying. It's definitely gonna be harder if you don't have snowshoes, because he didn't have like good running snowshoes. I was like, it's just gonna be kind of more difficult for you, but you should be fine. Like, you're not gonna destroy the trail post holing. It's just gonna stink a little bit for you. I think snowshoes are a little bit faster, but I mean, there are a bunch of cars there, so I was like, I probably don't need them. So I put on my Dion snowshoes at the trailhead, and he didn't, and we take off running. And the first mile up to that junction, it was smooth sailing, chit chatting, good to be out. It wasn't super super cold, and then we catch up to maybe like 1 or 2 people going up, and then we start climbing up towards the East Osceola climb. And We passed a couple of people, maybe like one or two groups. There was a group of 5, and right before you have that mile of like 1,700 feet of gain, super, super steep on East Osceola, we catch up to this group of women, 3 ladies, and they are breaking out trail, and they go, "Oh, thank God you guys are here." And I looked around, and I was like, "Oh no, I did not expect us to be breaking trail today." So, I mean, in the winter, you're gonna just have to break trail a little bit, but East Osceola is a tough climb to do it in. So I had small Dion snowshoes. He didn't have snowshoes. No poles. We both had 2 sets of gloves, which is fine, but no poles. And on that super steep climb, just it was a bear. And so yeah, once we started breaking trail, we had probably 2 miles to East Osceola and then to Osceola before we turned around. I knew we were gonna be breaking the trail the whole time. I was like, this is gonna take us a lot longer than we planned on. And I was kind of disappointed that no one had been out there. It makes sense in the weekdays, less people get out in the winter, but yeah, but basically so last Sunday, I go to Cannon, and there's only 2 people parked at Cannon. I also got kind of like a 9 a.m. start, and so I don't know if this winter there's less people getting out, or it's just been really snowy, so people are down, or it's the holiday season, people have errands and are busy or whatever. But it seems like, from my experience, less people are getting out this winter, and so we didn't get the benefit of getting the trail broken, so we had to break it. It ended up being fine. It was a good day. But yeah, we broke trail for a while. And it was probably a good 8 to 12 inches everywhere. And then there were up to 2.5 foot drifts once you got in between the peaks. So it was slow going. We definitely both got a little bit cold. Like, we were moving a little bit light, but we made it, and essentially it ate into all of the podcast time. So Ryan will be back. We'll be on the podcast eventually. You'll get to hear all the crazy stuff he's done, because he had a big year this year. He did a lot of cool stuff. So we'll have him on and talk about all that stuff, but not today. So what do we have today? Today I'll do a quick, my first winter Presi Traverse story, because I just think that's a funny story to tell. And there's just kind of one moment that is just so stupid looking back. So I'll do that. I'm going to talk about the TARC Winter Classic race that happened. Was it last weekend? Yeah, I think it was last weekend. We'll go through the results, a couple really strong times there. That's a fun, big race to follow. And TARC just does, people always show up for the TARC races. So we'll go through those results. The mac and cheese results. So actually, unfortunately, I didn't do the Kraft versus Annie's challenge. Doing it tonight. So maybe I put this at the end of this. Maybe I do like a recap at the end of this episode, or it just has to wait another week. But the reason I didn't do it, I had full intentions to do it Wednesday of this week. I only have one pot in my apartment. I have this one big pot that I just use to boil and cook everything in. I think it's efficient. I think it's effective. I don't like to have a ton of things in my life. I feel like less items, less stuff you got to stress about. But I could not. Usually I can think of other ways to make things, like, you know, lacking all of the kitchen stuff that maybe I should have. I couldn't figure out how to make 2 pots of mac and cheese without tainting one of them to taste them at the same time, because I think eating mac and cheese right after it's done versus 15 minutes after it's kind of had cooled and the cheesy liquefies, the liquefied cheese is kind of starting to solidify. I think there's a big difference, and we want even playing fields for the mac and cheese taste test. So gonna purchase another pot, because I have 2 cast iron pot pan kind of things that I have boiled water in and could have used, but I didn't know if the flavors in those pots would impact the mac and cheese. So we needed a head-to-head at the same time challenge. So gonna do it tonight. We will get those results later. And I will say, I posted it. I was getting a lot of comments on the Instagram that I posted. It sounds like everybody is on the Annie's train. I said in the podcast last week, I don't even think I tried Annie's. I've always been a Kraft person, and it was like Annie's 100,000%, not even close. Everyone was on Annie's side. So I'm assuming Annie's is gonna be better, um, but we're still gonna do the test, and I will give my results. And a couple of the things that I did think about, when you go to the Kraft mac or the mac and cheese aisle, there's Annie's, there's Kraft, and these boxes are like 4 for $5 or something at Market Basket. They do have a Market Basket mac and cheese that's like you can get like 8 for $3, like crazy cheap. And all I know for sure is that cannot be the best mac and cheese. It's got to be Kraft or Annie's. There was another brand that I heard that people say are pretty good, but it seems like Annie's is the clear favorite. I'm still going to give it a go, and I will still report back. And no offense, Sabrina said that she always liked the shaped mac and cheese, like, the SpongeBob or whatever character's mac and cheese. I told her, when I was a kid, those things scared me. The texture in my mouth when I ate those, I did not like it. So all I know is that I I was thinking too, maybe I should do like a white cheddar Annie's, regular Kraft, and then the shapes Kraft, and then throw a Market Basket in there. But I mean, I would go into a food I would feel so horrible after trying all those mac and cheeses. This is not something I eat regularly. It's kind of like a treat, like once or twice a year I'll make a box. I don't think I can eat 5 boxes of food because when I start eating, I usually need to eat eat it all. So I would just way overdose on mac and cheese. So that's one topic that I guess you might have to wait for next week, or I'll throw it in at the back of this. Next up, me and Jocelyn cut down a Christmas tree in the White Mountain National Forest. I'll talk about that experience because it was not what I was expecting. And then I'm gonna do a fantasy football rant. I'm gonna talk about Stranger Things. Oh, we did the start. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Stranger Things because I just started season 3, guys, and I feel like it's big right now. I'm not caught up. I'm trying to get caught up. I'll give you my thoughts on Stranger Things, and then we did the Osceola trip report. So that's what I have today. So a couple running things, and then a couple kind of more fun things. But all right. So first off, let's go to the TARC race results before I do my first Prezi. And also, I will say, I brought the full chopper winter mittens today. It's a little bit warmer than last week, but last week my index finger. John Bory commented on my Instagram and said, "Is your finger cold?" I could not feel my index finger until I recorded it at Cannon Mountain, which is like exit 34B in the White Mountains. I think it was probably exit 28 or 29 before I could feel my finger again. I was a little bit nervous that I had done some permanent nerve damage there, so we're keeping everything covered today and probably the rest of the winter. We just got to tough it out. I mean, I start a podcast and I just do it in the back of my truck, and we have the coldest winter we've had in like 10 years. Um, but no, I do kind of like it as kind of too. But okay, so the TARC race. This is so the TARC races. I think they're all in Massachusetts. Maybe the WAPAC starts in New Hampshire, but most of these are Massachusetts-based races. Very popular outside of Boston, so I feel like you have a big running community in Boston and in and around Boston, and they have a bunch of cool races. I have not raced in any, but I volunteered at a few. I've been to a few. There's lots of people there that kind of the same people go, and very enthusiastic. And some strong runners have ran over the years and this year. So it's always like a pretty competitive race, and people throw on some good times. So there are 3 different races. There's an 8-miler, which I think it's just one loop of the Skyline Trail. Yeah, 8 miles, a single loop of the Skyline Trail, and then the 32-miler is a 4 loop of the Skyline Trail, and then the 40-miler is the 5 loops of the Skyline Trail. I spend most of my time, especially on trails like running in the mountains, some local mountains, but mostly up north in the Whites. And I think, I started hiking more than running. And so I remember the first time I was going to the Skyline Loop, I was kind of like, this is some city running. This is gonna be easy. It's gonna be super fast. It's gonna be smooth. Yeah, they say it's rocky. It's gonna be smooth. The first time I ran the Skyline Loop, it is rockier than it is more technical than you would think. Like just looking at the map, there's no big climbs. It's all up and down. I think the loop has about maybe 12 or 1,300 feet of climbing. So there's decent climbing, but there's no sustained climbs. And it's 1,200 feet over 8 miles. So you're like, this is easy. It is a rocky loop. It's obviously not scrambly, super steep like the White Mountains, like a Monadnock. But as far as just kind of more casual, kind of flatter, undulating trails, it's as rocky as you get around in New England, southern New England. So it is a good trail. If you haven't been there, it's a good training for technical stuff. And I was impressed by it the first time I went. So it's a good loop. We'll start with the 40 miler. Only 9 people did it. 9 results here. The winner, Matt Pacheco, he ran it in 6:31, which was over an hour ahead of the second place person, Tillman Deddy. And then Grand Simon came in third. He ran 7:33.53. So second and third had a photo finish, let's call it. Yeah, photo finish. That 5 seconds within each other. So Tillman digs it out and gets the second place finish there. And then the first place female was Taylor Varelli, Kingston, Mass. She runs 9:07. She wins the 40 miler. Yeah, there are only 9 people in that race. The 32 miler, Max Perezek, he wins it in 4:47, which is, I believe, the 3rd fastest time on that course. I haven't pulled up here. Yeah. I have that pulled up here. Yeah, the 3rd fastest time on that course. The course record is Patrick Carron. Duh. Guy's an animal. He ran a 4:09 in 2018. That is just insane. And then the second fastest time in history was 4:43, and Max runs 4:44. I don't know Max. Yeah, I think he's from the city, but he's been doing, I think he was king of the White Mountains, the White Mountain Endurance Cup winner this past year. On the Era Vipa racing team. Dude is fast. He is fast. I think somebody told me he does like bike, or he was a cyclist and then he got into trail stuff, and he's been doing all the races, and yeah, that is a super legit time. I mean, Dan Grip ran that last year and ran it at 4:50. And Dan Grip, I mean, go look at his sign up. That dude is super fast, has won big races. Keith Nadu, 2023, runs 4:51. So these are the kind of people that he put up a good time with. I don't know what the weather was. I know it was cold last weekend, but I'm assuming it was like decent weather. So some sluggers. So that was a really good time by Max. He won by about 20 minutes. So Christopher Stevers came in second, 5:06, and then Matt Carbone, 5:28. If you don't know Matt Carbone, just a crusher. Just always, he's done a bunch of races and is just always super strong. The winner, female, Caitlin Murphy, she runs 5:40. So let's see what that time is all time. So 5:40, the 32 miler. So she runs the second fastest time of all time. Boom, there you go. Second and third fastest time for women and men's. Yeah, so Evelyn Needham last year ran a 5:36, and that's the only person who's run this faster. And there are some really strong runners. I mean, Cassandra Marin's on this list. I don't know, a bunch of these names. Leah Lowry. There's a lot of Liz O'Connor. There's a lot of like strong runners that have came out and done this TARC race, especially the 32 mile. I think that one's the most run. And so yeah, some super strong times there. So congrats to all of those people. They don't have this list posted by man and female. So I see Emily Knowlton. She ran 7:12. She might have been in second. And then Catherine Emily may have been third or fourth or fifth. I may have missed a couple names here, but the lists are posted. TARC does a weird thing where they post it on Ultra Sign Up, but you can't get the whole list there. It's one of those results that just shows up in black, so you can't really do a little bit of poking around there, but it is what it is. And then last but not least, maybe we should have started with this, the 8 mile race. Patrick Carron runs a course record 54:30. I mean, just flying. I don't have the course records for the 8 mile pulled up here. I wish they have like a Google spreadsheet, but here we go. Ooh, I'm in the Google Docs right now. Hold on, people. Hold on, folks. Hopefully I'm just expecting, okay, I'm not going to look right now. I'm just expecting the top 8 mile times. The first, 4 out of the first 5 are just Patrick Carron in different years. That is my guess, because he runs that 8 mile race almost every year. So that's my guess on the course records there. Oh, this is just a 25. Oh, where did I see the course record? All right, I don't think we're gonna. Wah, wah, wah. I don't think we're gonna get the course records right now. It's hard. I have so many tabs open on my phone. So anyway, he runs a course record. He did have the course record before. I think it was 55 something. And I mean, that dude is just a crusher when he's running, when he's racing. Yeah, if he steps on the start line, you head for second. He's super fast and super nice. He I think he runs the Air Vipa, all the Air Vipa accounts. So he goes to all the White Mountain Endurance races. Um, Run free. Am I messing this up? Free. Move free. Move free is his kind of like a brand, or he's got a cool website up there. So yeah, he's a cool person to talk to. I like seeing him at the races. Second place was Samuel Cohen, 103. So Patrick wins by 9 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's just, dude's fast. And then Michael Sage runs 109 for third. Axel. Okay, this is Sydney Swearingen runs a 119. She might have won. All right, hold on. Maybe I gotta look. Yeah, sorry, I'm butchering this right now. I just want to make sure I get this right. Okay, nope, it didn't come up. So yeah, go check out the 8 mile list and we'll see who won. I think Sydney won. Congrats to Sydney. Okay. I think those were those are the best times. So how many people ran this 8 mile? 63 people. Like there, yeah, there's lots of people run it. So that was the TARC race recaps. Um, yeah, super cool. Cool race. If you haven't went there and done it, go do a TARC race. They're fun. There's good camaraderie. If you're just getting into ultra running, those are great races to go to meet people, have people to run with, everyone going different paces, party pace, fast pace, lots of aid stations. It's not logistically super hard, so those are good races. Check them out. Okay. The first Presi Traverse story. We'll probably make this pretty quick. Yeah, we'll make it decently quick. The first Presi Traverse story. So I was just getting into ultra running, and I had just done a 50 miler. So I'd done that the virtual 50 miler that I kind of talked about previously, and I think it was a couple months after that. So I really hadn't even been running. I'd been training, like barely. I wasn't even training. I just would run a couple times a week, and was getting into hiking. And I heard about the Presi Traverse and was in this kind of I want to do hard things mode. And so I go and do this Presi Traverse. And I talked to my mom, who's a big hiker, and she kind of helped me with tips. Do this trail, you'll be good on your own. Pick a good day, yada yada. So it's sometime in March, and I go alone. And I had done a couple winter hikes with her, but I don't even know if I had done maybe one hike alone in the winter, but I wasn't super well versed. But we picked a good day, and she dropped me off at the trailhead. So it was like I wasn't being reckless by just going out there not knowing what I'm doing. But I remember hiking up to Madison and Adams. It was the first time. So I had brought snowshoes. I had bought an ice axe. I put an ice axe on there. I had at least 3 liters of water, I'm sure, and just a ton of stuff, ton of layers, a huge pack, all filled up. And I'm going up there, and I had been doing a little hiking, but I hadn't been doing a crazy amount of stuff. And I was thinking this might take me 12 hours. And so that's what I'm thinking, hiking up at 3 in the morning. I get a couple miles up there, and I'm thinking, I've never hiked with a pack this heavy. I think I weighed it was 42 pounds or something. And I was thinking, oh yikes, this might not be good. My legs are getting a little jello right now. But kept going, kept hiking, and I remember getting above tree line. I had never been in the Presis, and I didn't even know what Mount Washington looked like. I hadn't seen pictures, like I didn't look it up really. I just had a map, and I didn't know what any of this stuff looked like. So I'm getting up over tree line, and I remember peeking out, and I remember looking. So I went and did Madison in the dark, and so I couldn't really see too much. I come down, I head up to Adams, and it's starting to get sunrise, and it's gorgeous up there. It's a great day. It's not even super cold. It wasn't windy. It was an awesome day. And I look at, so Adams, I think they're called the Adams 5. There's like 5 kind of peaks around that area, and only one is an official like 4,000 footer with prominence from the next mountain. But there's a handful of higher points, peaks up there. And I remember looking up and thinking, this is so hilarious. If anyone can like picture this in their head right now, please stay with me. Looking at Adams and seeing the Adams 5, and instead of knowing it was the Adams 5, I literally thought that's Adams, that's Jefferson, that's Washington. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be actually kind of easy. Like, I'm just a killer right now. And I didn't think they were all those 5 mountains. I think if you are kind of looking to the right before, as the ridge starts to bend over towards Jefferson, I thought that peak was Washington. And there's nothing over there. It's just like a higher point on a ridge. And I remember thinking like, oh, Adams, Jefferson, Clay, Washington, boom. This is like I'm actually flying. I thought the pack was heavy, but I'm flying right now. This is gonna be easy. So I keep hiking up. And as I'm hiking up the first Adams 5, I get kind of turned around because there's no marks. It's all wind drifted. It's winter and it's kind of crusted over. So there's no one had been up there yet. And I get out my map and I'm like, oh my God, though I think I'm off the trail. So I figure out where the trail is and I figure out where Adams is. I was like, oh, I'm a little disoriented right now. And I finally make it up to Adams. And as you crest over Adams, I could just see Washington way the heck over there. Like I'm not even in the ballpark of Washington. And my heart dropped in my chest, down in my stomach, thinking, oh my God, I am not even close. I just thought that I skipped ahead 8 miles. And I remember being shook in that moment. It was an awesome day, and it kind of just like rearranged, like, oh, this is gonna take me like 12 hours. But I remember being like, oh, it's gonna be easy, and just I had never been up there. I didn't even know what these mountains looked like because everyone knows what Washington looks like. I didn't know, so that was the one funny part from that story. And then the other big thing was I had an ice axe with me. I got rid of it. I gave it to somebody, I think, and I don't really think there are many places in the Whites that you really need an ice axe if you're just hiking kind of 4,000 footers. Like if there's crazy trails, yes, there's ice climbing, places that you need an ice axe. But I don't really think there's a ton of those places that you really, really need it in your arsenal. And so, but I had it for the Jefferson snowfield. So that's like one place if it's icy, if it's kind of, it's a steep little spot you got to get across. So that's why I had it, and I knew the gist. Like I figured I would know where it is when I'm on it. Um, but as I'm hiking over to Jefferson, I get to the Jefferson snowfield and I'm hiking across. And like I said, there had been no tracks up there, or maybe there's one set of snowshoe tracks from the day before. So I'm kind of following that. And I kind of just like looked down and I realized that all of the snow, the snow is kind of just like going off the trail and then just shooting down. And I look down and it is super steep. And essentially I'm on the snowfield, like extremely steep grade. So the ice axe is if you start sliding down that, you just use it to kind of self-arrest. Is that the word? Self-arrest? So anyway, but I'm on this one tiny patch of snowshoe track, and I have this huge 40-pound pack with the ice axe strapped down on the pack, and I'm thinking I can't even reach my ice axe right now. I brought this stupid thing up here and I can't even use it. And I'm thinking, well, I just got to keep walking straight. Like this is one of those things like, mind over matter, like pretending you're not 40 feet up and just walk straight. And kept walking, and there's a little like kind of rock area where somebody had stopped and padded out kind of a 4 foot by 4 foot area. And even that was too weird for me to, with that big pack, sling it off and get the ice axe. So I was like, well, I did half of it without the ice axe. I'm just going to do the second half without it too. And so I walked across it, and I remember being like, that was the stupidest thing. Like, I'm totally alone up here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know really what mountains I'm on. And the one safety gear that I have, I'm not even using it. It's probably just hindering me because it's adding extra weight to my top side. So yeah, that was my first winter Presi Traverse story. Since then, I've done a ton of winter hiking. I think it's so funny to look back and think about that kid going out there and not knowing what he was doing, but it was a good learning experience. And like I said, I don't think it was super reckless because my mom, she dropped me off and was hiking Eisenhower, was in the area. It was an awesome day weather-wise. So it wasn't like I was doing anything super stupid, but that I did not know what I was doing out there. So that was a kind of Presi Traverse story. I think I finished it in maybe close to 11 hours. And I remember being happy with that, which is so funny because those conditions were really good. And nowadays, if like, it would be way like twice as faster than twice as fast that was. So it's just funny to see how far I've come just getting out in these mountains. But that was the Presi Traverse story. I thought it was funny. Got a kick out of it, especially today, me being a little bit underprepared for the conditions. I think, yeah, I was kind of talking to Ryan about this. We essentially just did a 5-hour podcast without recording it, driving up together and then just going out there, just talking all running stuff. We're very in sync on a lot of training thoughts and lots of stuff. So we'll definitely have him on the podcast. But yeah, we were kind of talking about there. I think experience and smart decision making can really save you, and honestly, fitness in a lot of areas. If fitness can really save you in a lot of those kind of sketchy scenarios. And it's all about making good decisions. I think everyone just screams like you got to have all the essentials and you got to have a sleeping pad and everything if something goes wrong. I think most of your risk is going to be in making good decisions and banking on experience. I've been in all sorts of conditions up there, and I know all the trails, like all the hard parts, all the steep parts, where people are going to be, where we could get help. So as long as I don't get hurt kind of thing, you can always mitigate, like, I don't have enough food or I'm not staying warm enough, got to turn around, got to make decisions. I think it's all just making smart decisions out there. And, 4 years ago when I did that Presi Traverse, I had zero experience and now I have a lot more. So that kind of shows, I don't know, shows risk in the mountains and just get out there when there's other people, with other people, and you get more comfortable out in the winter conditions. So yeah, that was a Presi Traverse story. Next up, cutting down a Christmas tree. So getting our Christmas tree. So Jocelyn and I, like I said, we got a Christmas tree. Basically, you can go into the White Mountain National Forest and cut down like a DIY your own Christmas tree. And it's $5. Processing fee online is $2.50, so $7.50. Go pick your tree. And I think in first year doing it, it's like, oh, this is an awesome idea. Like, it's so cool that they do that. It's it's just a cool idea. It's kind of an adventure. We go up there, we pick out the perfect tree. That's not how it went. So we get up there last weekend, and I don't want to give away. I don't really think there are many. I don't think it's super secret where these trees are. I mean, maybe in my head, but essentially, I'm looking online. There's a few different types of trees. So some trees are going to be better, thicker, fuller than other trees, essentially. And there's a few different types that you can use. If you go to a Christmas tree farm, I'm sure biohacking, they have the seeds for the great genes. But a lot of the natural tree selection, they don't have those good genes. We haven't mastered that corn or whatever, the glycosite. It only kills certain gene. It kills everything except the corn gene, whatever. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, these trees are sparse. And so my idea was, the higher up you go, like, you see those trees as you get to kind of above tree line that look more Christmas tree. There's just more of those kind of trees up there. So my thought was just go to the highest point that you can kind of access easily from a road. So I'm not gonna spot, say any spots. I don't want to step on any toes, but just go as high as you can, and you're going to have a better selection. And that's what we found. But the rules are, you can't get a tree within 100 feet of a road or a picnic area or a recreation area or anything like that. You need to really be over 100 feet. And anywhere, without getting to the tree line, which you can't drive up to, there's no place you can drive up to a tree line. At least I can't think of any right now. All the places that the trees were growing and getting enough sunlight and getting full are near the edges of the roads or open areas with recreation areas where you can't really go get a tree. And so you go as high as you can. There's lots of good looking trees that you can see from the road, but then you go 100 feet off the road, there's nothing. It's all like crappy trees, like little scrawny little trees. And that's what we found. And so it was really tough. So we had a handful of spots, and we got up there. I think we started looking at like 1:30, and we're like, all right, we have lots of time before it gets dark. So let's hit a few of these spots. Let's really make this an adventure. So we see one spot. We actually found a decent little tree. We're like, all right, well, we like this tree, but we're not going to take it home. And I kind of started making this joke that Justin was feeling bad about. I was like, being the tree, being like, no, please don't leave me. If you don't come back and get me, I can't take this cold anymore. Please cut me down. Take me into your home, your warm home. Decorate me with ornaments. And she was like, Andrew, stop. You're going to make me feel bad. So anyway, so we had this tree, but we ended up leaving it. And we're like, if we can't find another tree, we're going to come back and get this tree. So we go out, we check another spot, and there's lots of snow up there, and it's hard to walk around off trail areas. So, and it's kind of just too thick, and we're not seeing any trees. Like, all right, that's a bust. So we go to the next spot, and it's like, now we can't get 100 feet from a road. Like the trees that we thought looked good, we can't get 100 feet. We want to be all legal, abide by the law. So we skip that one. And then we go to a couple places, and then it's kind of we're going back and forth, looking at some of these spots. And then it's 2:30, and then it's 2:45, and then it's 3. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what we're going to do. So we end up flying back to that first tree. We're like, we're going to give you a home, buddy. We're going to love you like we're going to feed you good. It's going to be dandy. And we get up there, and it's near a man-made area up there, but it was further enough away that it was way over 100 feet. But then I go to the thing, and there was a big sign that said no Christmas tree chopping on it. And in my head, it's kind of like, I wish I didn't. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm putting this on the internet now. But I wish I didn't see that sign, and I could have just cut it all legal and been like, oh, crap, we already cut it. I don't know. We got to bring it home. But I saw the sign, and I was like, Justin, we really shouldn't cut that tree. I don't know why this sign is here. I know we're abiding by all the rules online, but this just says no cutting of trees. It feels weird if we pull a tree out of here. So then it's like, oh, whatever. So then I'm like, all right, we just have to go to a lower elevation where there's a trail, and we just cover some ground, and we try to find a good tree. Didn't work either. All of the trees are just these scrawny little trees. And at this point, I'm thinking like, all right, we just have to take one of this. Like, we got to take one of these home. None of these puppies are there's, I don't know, maybe I have to cut that out. There's not going to be a perfect tree. We're not going to come around a corner and there's going to be just this glowing, oh, we just got to make one work that we think is quirky or whatever. And honestly, Johnson's not having it. I'm like, oh gosh, okay. Well, there's one spot that we didn't die. It was kind of like a spot you had to work to get towards. We didn't go down there. Let's go try that. And we get there, and honestly, one person was cutting up a tree, and then this other person had this nice tree. I didn't know where this guy got this tree, but he had this nice tree. I told him, I was like, dude, you could start a timber company with that tree. That tree is a perfect tree. Holy smokes. And he was like, and I was like, dude, we've been out here for way longer. I thought this would be easy and fun. This is ridiculous. And he goes, yep, we did it for the first time last year, and it is not as easy as you think. And he was like, but this is where we ended up. And I was like, well, we made it here. We're at a decent tree spot, at least on this guy's terms. And this guy just cut down this honker of a tree. So we kind of asked him where he got it. Hopefully he had a little brother or cousin or something going on over there. We could take it home, but we go over there, and it's kind of like it wasn't a good area, but then there was one last area we get to, and there's a handful of like decent trees. It was the right type of tree. I don't know exactly what it was some sort of fir tree. I know it was some sort of fir tree, but it was the right type. It had decent genes. It was just missing a little bit of oomph in the middle area, but at this point it was getting dark, and this is like we had to pick a tree. So we picked the best tree. We cut it down. We brought it home. We decorated it, gave it water, gave it heat, and we're going to love it with all our might. That's the Christmas tree story. I really just thought, and so it just turned into a fiasco. So here are my thoughts. If you want a Christmas tree, you ever want to cut down a Christmas tree, it is a fun activity. I think it is a cool activity. It feels good to cut down your own, tree in a kind of a sustainable way. The forest is a billion trees up there. It's cheaper. It's a fun activity. Have your dream tree GPS marked during summer conditions. Because in the summer, it's way easier to walk around. But with all the snow up there, it was hard. You either had snowshoes or it's super deep, and when you're off trail, it's like a crapshoot anyway. It's so slow moving. So, pro tip, if you want to get a Christmas tree, plan ahead early. If you're going up to the Whites, just take an hour after a hike and find a good spot with a tree. Find a tree you want, have a GPS point. Second pro tip, everybody was going the week after Thanksgiving. We saw tons of cars driving out of blank road, highway, blank up there getting trees. So it's like, maybe it's not even a secret. Like, you can just look. They said if you call a Forest Service, they'll tell you where you can get some. So we never called because it was the weekend or something, but I'm sure it's not a secret. But we saw lots of people hauling their trees out. And honestly, the first couple, we were thinking, I ain't bringing that tree home. That ain't a tree for us. But then we realized why all of these trees looked like that. But I think we got a pretty decent tree. And so the second tip, GPS it? Oh, the second tip, everyone goes the weekend after Thanksgiving because, Thanksgiving, you don't want to step on Thanksgiving's toes, right? Like, it's a big holiday. It's its own holiday. You don't want to step on its toes. You definitely don't want to rip into Thanksgiving food because that would be a dumb idea. So you don't want to do that. And so we didn't want to go that weekend. We wait the next weekend. Everyone else is thinking that. So pro tip, Thanksgiving ends, may do a little Black Friday shopping. That Saturday, Sunday, go get your tree because you're going to have a better selection. If that guy didn't get that beautiful tree, that could have been our tree. So I think go early, look for trees often when you're up there, and that's how you're going to get a good Christmas tree in the White Mountains. And I think the best way to do it is just hike up one of these mountains above tree line. There's a couple, I don't know. There's lots of those good trees. The higher up you get, the better off you're going to be. And no one's going to go up there. Make a full day hike out of it. Bring a sled or something and mark it. Like, there's a certain type of tree that you see it when you know it when you see it is a Christmas tree. You have to find patches of those types. So whenever you see that on certain trails, note it, go back, get your Christmas tree. Things will be dandy. That was the Christmas tree talk. Okay, next up, the fantasy football rant. Bum. Me and my buddy, Bori, who actually, I might have him on the podcast. That will be an awesome episode, guys. I love John Bori. And I want that on the camera and on the internet. We co-manage a football team. I've done lots of football teams, and I love watching football. I'm a Pats fan, not like diehard, so I feel like I can't be crazy when they're really good. I can't be like all in your face, but when they're really bad, because I don't really care that much when they're really bad. But obviously grew up in the Brady era. Pats fan, have been playing fantasy football, specifically in one league, the Merrimack Bad Boys, shout out Jake Chambers, league for like 16 years or something crazy. We started when we were like 10 or whatever. And so it's been a long-running league, and that's kind of the one league that I got to. I did a couple other leagues, and it just got too much checking the lineups. I'm just so busy, I couldn't keep up. But that's the one league we're still in, and everyone now has co-managers, which is actually fun. I like having a co-manager because you live and die with this with your boy, and that's what I'm doing with Bori. And we've doing a lot of dying on this in the podcast, or in the fantasy football league, but. 5th in the league in points scored. We put up numbers every week, every single week. We had Jamar Chase, we have Josh Allen, we have Josh Jacobs. We have all of these people just going off. And every week we go against a high score. We have like by over 100 points, the most points allowed. We missed the playoffs this year. And it is just so frustrating. Obviously the points for. I know some leagues do where you pretty much, they don't even go by matchup stats. They go by total points for, which is, I think there's something to do with maybe consistency. Like, I like consistent players over just people that go off one week versus not. But who knows? Different arguments. But it really stings when you it just feels like we're both giving away $50 every year in this league. The last 3 years, we have just been getting absolutely annihilated. The first year we did fantasy together, we go on the 7-0 run in fantasy. The first year we're co-managers, and every Tuesday we're getting on the phone after work. we're laughing, we're making jokes. We can't be beat. No, everybody is going off. Boom, boom, boom. I can't even remember who we had on that team. And it's just like, we love fantasy. This is amazing. Just talking smack, the whole nine. And yeah, and ever since that run, we have just had nothing but losing seasons. And it's getting so much to bear. And I think honestly, I have to talk to the commissioner because we have the same schedule every year, and you don't play everybody twice. You only play a few teams twice, and every year we're getting Big Jim, Little Jim twice. We're getting I can't say some of these fancy team names on here. I really can't. We're getting some of these teams twice, and it's a one keeper dynasty, and maybe we're getting the good teams. I don't know, but fantasy football, it can just be heartbreaking sometimes. And I feel like you put in so much. Like I can't even watch it. If I have two guys going that I need to get X amount of points on a Monday night, I can't watch it because I get too invested. If they get the points, I'm so excited. If they don't, I'm upset and I can't go to bed, at a good time. It's insane. And I am just it's strange how some people are just good at fantasy and some people are just bad at fantasy because of injuries. You never know. I think I am just bad at fantasy, and it's brutal. So that's the fantasy football update. But okay, last topic of the day: Stranger Things. Do we do a motivational minute today? Do I have something? Maybe I do have something. But Stranger Things. Started watching Stranger Things. I am on season 3 right now, so no spoilers. No spoilers at all. Because I know season 5's getting out. I haven't been seeing any of the season 5 stuff, so I have no idea. Um, yeah, I really have no idea what happens, or I haven't really seen anything. And so I'm just watching it for what it is. So what do I think about Stranger Things? The first season I was watching Stranger Things, I remember thinking, what is this show? This is like somebody told me it was kind of a scary show, and the first few episodes it just like didn't seem real. It wasn't scary because it wasn't realistic, and it was just kind of like it almost felt a little bit goofy. Some of the stuff that was in it, it was just like a little bit goofy, and but whatever. I keep watching it, and obviously the first season's pretty good. You kind of get the hooks in. Oh, some good storylines going on there, and it was good. So then I kind of got into it, and then I think I watched maybe half of season 2, and it was maybe a little bit slower, but I was still liking it. But it was we kind of just stopped watching it. But then the season 5 came out at their ad campaign eventually got to me, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to catch up. There's only 2.5 seasons. So we started watching it again and finished out season 2. I mean, the end of season 2 it was just beautiful. The thing that I like about that show is you get all the characters in that show, all the main characters, and they're all doing side quests, but at least a couple times so far, they all kind of come together and discover things kind of at the same time, and they all pop up in it's TV timing, but it's kind of like a feel good. Like I like when the gang's together. I like when the whole gang is together. I like when Jonathan and Nancy figure something out and they eventually. I like when the kids finally all come together and they meet up. I like when Hopper and Winona Ryder, forget her name, they kind of team up and realize what's going on. Like, no, this is a real thing, guys. I like when they all come together. And then when Elle comes in and does her thing, oh my God, slam dunk. It's just good vibes. And yeah, when we were watching this last season, so the end of season 2, I kind of forget the whole scheme of things. Oh, it's growing, right? So we're gonna do spoilers for me. Just don't don't comment and spoil it for me. I'll spoil what I watched for everything else, I guess. But no, this is a warning. If you haven't watched through season 2, go back. But yeah, season 2, when the virus is spreading, right? When it's growing underneath, when these puppies are getting out, these little weird black fucking face puppies are getting out. It's all building up. It was oh, what is that guy's name with the hair, with the 3 hairspray guy? That guy, he started out the worst. Now we love that guy. I forget his name. God dang it. But yeah, that guy with the hair. It's him. It's the kids. They're in their battle bus, and Oh, was that the oh, and they kind of fight off a couple of those little lizard guys, and then something calls them the way, and they kind of get saved, and you're like, oh my God, this is getting crazy. The next time when they bring the infected guy, I'm not good with the names, but that infected kid, that kind of weird kid, when he's infected, they get him in the room and they figure out he's a spy, right? They figure out he's a spy and they're saying he needs to not know where he is. So they screen up his whole shed so he doesn't know where he is. They tie him up on the screen and they wake him up with that little gas because Winona had just stabbed him out with the in the doctor's room with that with the sedative. They wake him up and he starts freaking out. Where am I? Where am I? Oh my God, that's kind of like, oh my God, he's freaking out. But finally he calms down. They start talking to him to try to bring Will back out. And he doesn't know where they are. But then the phone rings and he hears it's his house's phone and he knows where they are. And so all of a sudden the guy, the big scary guy, I don't even know, the bug, he starts sending his puppies over to them. And you're thinking, last time they got lucky with all the kids, like them getting scared away. This time they're so screwed. Like, what is going to happen? It's just, it's over. And then they get in the house. Everyone gets in the house. And it's so funny, Jonathan or that guy with the hair picks up the spiked bat. They all got a little something. Nancy's got the rifle. She can shoot it. I can shoot it. And Hopper's just got his AKE. And you're like, God, just get behind Hopper and we'll let this guy work. And you hear the noises, you're like, oh my God, it is those things. And then all of a sudden you hear that, and then nothing. And you're like, oh my God. And right in that moment, I was like, she's back. And wouldn't you know it, the door lock, clink, door opens, and your girl, Elle, shows up. Nose bleeding. What's up, gang? Like, that moment was so good. So they gang up, and then she goes and she closes the portal, which was awesome. She goes and closes the portal, which was huge. And season 2 ended like, it's perfect. Everyone is feeling good. The crew, the gang's together. We like all the good characters. Elle's back. This is awesome. Season 3 rolls around, and I'm in the monkey business right now. There's monkey business going on at the mall. There's the Russian stuff going on at the mall. Dustin come home from camp. There's turmoil in between all of the parties. The teenagers, they're getting in relationships, they're getting in fights, the breakup, all this stuff. And you're at first I was kind of thinking like, I don't know if I really love this season just because it's too much kind of fighting. Hopper's kind of being annoying. Elle's kind of being annoying. Elle and Mike are kind of being annoying. Like, there's a lot of kind of annoying stuff going on. The crew's kind of breaking up. Will, dude, wants to play Dungeons and Dragons so bad. Nobody will play Dungeons and Dragons with this kid. He got all this stuff going on. But then you find out, there are some Russian. I don't know if the reactor is in Russia or what, but you find out there's Russians, the mall coding. So I'm at the point where the hair guy, the new girl who works at the dairy scoop place, and then Dustin, they just cracked the code and they're watching Russians. They're figuring something out. Nancy and Jonathan with the rats, they're figuring something out. And then Winona with the magnets and the science guy. We love the science guy. The science guy's the best. They're figuring out. So they're all about to figure out this thing's back. And I think Elle has already figured out. She's done some of the dream things and she's seen. So Billy, everyone hates Billy. I actually think this is a controversial, but I think obviously we hate Billy. He's the worst. But I think he's a good character. He plays the character really, really well. I kind of compared it. At first, I was saying it's kind of like Joffrey in Game of Thrones. You hate this guy. He's the worst. But it's like, God, he's such a good villain. But then I was thinking, I think it's more like Cersei because Joffrey really was just the absolute worst. In Billy, I can kind of see a little bit of he really when he spared that the hot mom or whatever, that scene that was too much. In season 1 that was too much, in season 2 it was too much. But when he spares her and doesn't kill her and walks away, it's kind of like it was kind of like a nice thing, that maybe you overlook. And then when his dad's like beating on him, you kind of feel for him in that sense too. So I feel like he's more of like a Cersei. He has a couple good moments, but this guy just stinks. But he's infected. And Max and Elle just found them at that place because Elle had the visions. and they go into this house, and they're all just looking great, eating dinner. Oh, hey, this is my daughter, Maxine, what are you doing here? You're all soaking wet. Oh, wow. Good to see you. Yeah, everything's great. Mr. Wheeler, how are you doing? Oh, of course, of course. And then Elle's like, no, I saw that girl. And then the girl's there. Hi, Heather, hi. And then Elle and Max are just kind of confused, like, what is going on? They walk out of the door, and then immediately Billy and that girl just kill her parents. And it's like, oh man, the devil's that thing is taking people down. And and so anyway, the story, Stranger Things is getting its hooks in me. I want to get through season 3 and then get through season 4 so I can just watch season 5. I think the whole thing's out, right? Is that how they do it on Netflix now? But I think the whole thing's out. But anyway, um, I'm in on Stranger Things. So if you're watching Stranger Things season 5, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. All right, can I pull a quote out right now? Oh god, I feel like I had a couple good quotes, but oh, here we go. We're just gonna pull a quick quote here. I remember this one. This one doesn't really have a ton to do with training. Maybe it has a ton to do with running. This wasn't a huge running heavy podcast, but we had some topics that we had to discuss. I don't know. We had to do it. Being rich is having lots of money. Being wealthy is having lots of time. If you are, no matter how old you are, it's always, you're the youngest you're going to be right now, right? If you're just going through the motions of going to work, doing your thing, if you have a family, all of these things, life is super busy. I think it's easy to go through the motions and get kind of, maybe sometimes you lose track of priorities just because things get busy and things get tough sometimes. You're the youngest you're ever going to be right now. We are time rich. If you ask yourself in 20 years if you could trade all of your money and all of your everything for the time that you have right now, you would do it, no questions asked. So wherever you are in life, you got to go for it. If you have a dream, you have to go now. It's like you get one life. I heard you have to be running as fast as you can at whatever the biggest dreams you have are and what you want to do. You just have to go, because the second best time was 20 years ago. The best time was 20 years ago. The second best time right now. Don't let time escape you. I feel like time is weird. When you're sitting at work, time goes by slow. When you're doing things you want, time goes by fast. When you're really, really busy and you're strung out, time goes by fast. And I think you lose perspective. Sometimes I feel like time is going by really, really slow when I'm looking at certain things in my life. But then other times I look at certain things, I'm like, wow, that was X amount of years ago. And so I think the New Year's is always a great time to kind of do that. It's a great time to kind of reflect on new goals and stuff. But right now, if you have goals, if you have big dreams, you have to be running as fast as you can at it. That doesn't mean give up all these things that you have going on. Just make sure you're intentional with your time. And if you're sitting on your phone for X amount of hours a day and you're not where you want to be, you can only blame yourself. Like, you got to, and I'm to blame. Trust me, this phone is addicting. You get sucked back in, and I try to pull out of it, but it sucks you back in. But you got to keep your goals and your priorities at the forefront and not let it get washed away in life. Because if you do, it's going to go by quick. And we're time wealthy right now. We got to use it. But all right, that's enough for today. Like I said, we got a couple guests coming on the podcast eventually. I don't know exactly actually how it's going to work. I have 2 mics, but yeah, I'm going to have to, but eventually I want to have other people on the podcast. Yeah, and really, start letting people, we got to get this Northeast trail running scene popping. And if I can help that in any way, that's what I want to do. So trying to cover all the races, trying to talk about all the times. Winter's a little bit slower. I'm going to mix in some of this fun stuff because I just like talking about this fun stuff. So I'm just going to keep doing it. So hopefully some people enjoy it. Maybe you don't. It's all good. But if you're still listening, thank you so much. I appreciate, I've gotten a lot, and Obviously, it's not like a crazy amount, but I've gotten, a dozen, maybe a little, some handfuls of comments from people like, "Oh, I enjoy listening, or I love listening to it, or good, keep it going, like it's awesome, good for you. I like this, I like that." Every single one of those comments has kept me going. Yeah, I have lots of things to talk about. Next week, I think might be a decent episode for some things I want to talk about, running related and the whole kind of the whole scheme of things. But yeah, if anything nice that's been said to me has helped me keep going, and I really appreciate it, anyone listening. And I would just want to, like I said, keep talking about Northeast Trail stuff. There's lots of cool things going on, and I want to talk about as much of that stuff as I possibly can in a way that's gonna help people, maybe entertain people a little bit, and get this thing going. So yeah, lots of fun stuff coming in on the coming episodes. And until then, yeah, get out on some trails, run a little bit, get faster. All right. We'll see you next time. Peace. Yeah, I am. Is this still recording? The video's off, but yeah, sometimes on these outros, I say some weird things, but we keeping it. All right, see you next week.